These tragic times could have been the Sternstunde, finest hour, of a greater German responsibility in Europe, unquote, about which German politicians have been talking since reunification. But exactly now, the leading party in the German government, the SPD, and the German Chancellor of that same party are nowhere to be found, actually, since the beginning of the war. It is true, Germany now does considerably more than in the initial stages of the Ukraine war by sending more weapons, and that's good. But most of the times, only after considerable outside pressure or pressure from within the government by coalition partners, the Greens and the Liberals. The initiative never seems to come from the SPD itself. Why is this the case? Three reasons I can give you. First, I have been saying since years that our Western political elites are collectively intimidated by Russia. This is especially the case for SPD politicians. They simply don't dare to act against Russia. Then, second, there is a geopolitical misconception in Germany. Es gibt in Europa keinen Frieden ohne Russland. In Europe, there will be no peace without Russia. You can hear this empty slogan very often from SPD officials. The truth is that the contrary is the case. There will only be peace in Europe without this Putin Russia. Without means reducing Russia's influence in Europe by containing it as much as we can. Of course, this is not real peace. Real peace is a peace which holds without weapons in a climate of trust. But that is simply not possible with the mafia-style Putin regime which rules over Russia. With this Russia, only a peace of strength through weapons and strong alliances is possible. Only with a new Russia there is a chance on real peace. And last, the third reason why the SPD hardly shows the initiative is because the SPD is infiltrated by many people who simply stand on the side of Russia. Putin-Versteher. Some openly, like former Chancellor Gerhard Schröder. They stand on the side of Russia for business reasons. Germany made good money in and with Russia, but also because they see this alliance with Russia as a strategic counterweight to American dominance over Germany and Europe. This axis Berlin-Moscow is not very visible, but it is there. Weakening it inspired many American actions, for example with respect to Nord Stream and now concerning main battle tank deliveries to Ukraine. If Germany really wants to lead in this time, it should try to convince the EU and her EU partners to make a victory plan for Ukraine, which the EU should coordinate. Because now the assistance to Ukraine is fractured and often too little, too late. This stands in the way of victory. If we want to stop Putin once and for all, we should make him find his Waterloo in Ukraine. He should meet the bigger power. He cannot defeat Ukraine together with the West. A power he has basically been looking for such a long time. This guy is simply asking to be stopped. And if he's not stopped, he goes further and further until he has what he wants, at the expense of many others with much blood in his hands. So he should be stopped. This victory plan should contain 1. What does Ukraine need per month in terms of weapons, ammunition, training, and other support, humanitarian, to defeat Russia and remove Russia's troops from its entire territory, including Crimea? because Ukraine will only be safe if Crimea is returned to Ukraine. Which country can produce ammo type X or weapon system Y? Which production capacity needs to be increased? And in which country should these new facilities be built? Advise create many in the eastern part of the EU. That will bring them behind the plan. And of course, how will all this be financed? 2. What can Europe and the West do to limit Russia's possibility to get outside help? The West should put entire countries on the sanctions list if they directly or indirectly provide military assistance to Russia by denying these countries access to Western markets. 3. What can the West do to sustain its assistance to Ukraine indefinitely? For example, underwater energy infrastructure and data cables should have maximum protection to deny Russia the possibility to weaken the West by destroying this infrastructure. If Russia is successful in weakening us, it will be harder for us to sustain our aid to Ukraine. How will the burden of this assistance to Ukraine be shared in a fair way in which richer countries pay more per capita? Fourth, to preserve Ukraine's victory and European security, on the long run, the plan should have a strategy for the time after victory. The aim should be to keep Russia intact for many reasons: stability, nuclear weapons, no strengthening of the West's strategic competitors. Disintegrating Russia would be a nightmare for the West. That is the last thing we should want. America, the UK, Canada, and others should be involved in this plan. It should become a plan of the entire West, initiated by Germany and the EU, but it should be a plan of the entire West. If Germany would take the initiative here, it would really lead. But unfortunately, nothing of the kind.